Howdy folks, and I hope your plasma casters are fully functional wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today it's Hot Toys' highly anticipated take on the Feral Predator from the 2022 Dan Trachtenberg directed movie Prey. Usual format folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But before we dive in, I'd like to send a gauntlet shield size shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the 1/6 scale news, views and reviews that we've got coming up. So, I'm old school. Mr. Go Figure is seriously old school, which means I love the original 87 Predator. I have a number of figures in the collection from that movie. I like the 1990 sequel, not quite as much as the original. Pretty much everything after that has been hot garbage in my opinion. Although 2010's Robert Rodriguez directed Predators had some halfway decent moments, but pretty much it has been a downward spiral. So when Disney announced Prey, I was not holding my breath, I can tell you. Regulars to the channel will know my feelings about Disney and their IP destroying ways. So imagine Mr. Go Figure's surprise when Prey was actually a good movie. Probably the second or third best in the franchise in my opinion, and a reimagined Predator in a visceral form. So much humble pie was eaten that day by Mr. Go Figure, I can tell you. But enough of my Predator ponderings onto the box, and it is a big box, but then again it's a big chap, so let's stop it from spinning and have a quick look at it if the turntable will cooperate. Yeah, massive box this one. Figure does come in with some heft to it. Really liking what Hot Toys have done here. This front cover, really tactile, really nice. It's got this sort of embossed feel to it, but rough at the same time, and it's almost as though it's been etched or burnt into wood. It looks really nice. And in the background there, you've got the Feral Predator's biomask with the laser sighting there. In the top left-hand corner, in this super high gloss, you've got some Predator blood, and there's more blood spatters on either side as well. It says Prey across the top in the logo from the movie, 20th Century Fox, obviously a fully licensed product. Feral Predator at the bottom, Hot Toys logo. Around the side, that sort of wood effect that is continued, and you've got these sort of scratches going on, a continue of those blood spatters, and it says Feral Predator. Pretty much the same story on the right hand side as well. Around the back you have got all the usual credits and warnings and barcodes and everything else. Bottom here it says don't piss this figure off, or the jungle may come alive and take you. No, it doesn't say that, that's just me. On the bottom of the box, and this is a heavy box as well as a big box, it says Prey in that logo again, and I'm going to assume it says the same thing on the top. Oh no, it says Feral Predator and Prey in slightly smaller lettering. So yeah, massive box, hefty beast, slipcover design. So let's pop this slipcover off and have a look at what we've got underneath. Once removed, you've got the usual Hot Toys story with the clear plastic window there with the figure underneath in a clamshell. And behind that second clamshell are the accessories and the base and so on. You've got swap out hands and stuff going on. And pretty much that pattern's continued again around the sides. And on the back you have a shot of what I believe is actually the figure itself done in this sort of brown scale with these hexagons at the bottom there. So yeah, really nicely done. I've got to say, I am very impressed with the presentation here from Hot Toys. Liking this box a lot. I think a lot of thought's gone into it. The eagle-eyed amongst you will probably have noticed the seals are still intact on this box. It has literally only seconds ago come through the door and gone straight in front of the camera. So let's do as we always do. Let's break those seals open, let's dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that come with your Feral Predator. Okay folks, so accessories out, and it's fair to say Hot Toys have not scrimped here on the accessories. It's great to see. We've got a lot of stuff going on here, but we'll get the mundane bits and pieces out of the way first. Set of instructions, as always with most Hot Toys figures, and unopened as of yet, but I'm pretty certain I'll be opening these in between takes before we bring the figure out, just to work out some of the finer details of some of this weaponry. But yeah, nice to see. Set of instructions included. Let's start with the hands. Now, yes, you know me and my hands, and in particular my Predator hand fetish. Slightly larger than the normal 6 scale hands, slightly larger figure, and not a vast amount to go at. There's an open palm pair already on the figure itself. We'll take a look at those as always when we bring the figure out, but let's grab a couple of these swap out hands at random and see what kind of detail we're looking at here. Now, straight away, the sculpt and the paint application here looks very, very good indeed. Hot Toys have a reputation with their hands, or at least they have a reputation with me, and it doesn't look like that reputation's in any danger here. The sculpt looks on point with that skin texturing in there, really nicely done. You've got creasing in the palms there. The colour looks on point. The paint applications look really nice. You've got this sort of darker brown on the surface there with a lighter, more tan colour on the palm there, and you've got these black stripes that have been painted in down each of the digits, which is screen accurate, and the nails look really good as well. Totally black there, totally screen accurate, slightly more high gloss than those stripes on the back, but yeah, very, very nice indeed. You've got gripping hands, not quite sure which weapon that's supposed to be gripping, but I'm sure we'll find out. Another gripping hand, I believe that's for either the spear or the spear gun, and yeah, another gripping hand as well, and three gripping hands in total. And as you can see, the level of detailing and sculpt on all of them is very, very good indeed. I am suitably impressed. We're off to a good start. So that's the hands. Let's put those to one side. Weaponry. Let's dive into the weaponry because there's a lot to go at here. First of all, you get this axe, all one piece of sculpted plastic. Now, I think this is meant to be Naru's axe. Not 100% certain, but I think it is. Although it does look slightly large to be Naru's axe. All one piece of sculpted plastic, very nicely done. Paint applications and sculpt detail on the handle there to give that wood effect. The detailing on the sculpted in bindings looks really nice at the top there. And the axe head itself has got that sort of grey paint applications that have been shaded to give it that rough-hewn stone quality. So yeah, very nicely done. If it is Naru's axe, it would have been nice to see the bindings on there that she uses when she throws the axe, but I'm not 100% certain that is Naru's axe. Correct me in the comment section if I'm getting that wrong, but yeah, that's the axe. You also get the shield. Let's take a look at the shield. Really nicely done this, all one piece of sculpted plastic. And I am loving the detailing here. Screen accuracy is on point there. I love the way that they've overlapped it, and to replicate that motion it has when it extends itself in the film, and the paint applications to shade in those gaps there to make it look three-dimensional are very, very effective. Colours are absolutely on point there, with this sort of coppery edge to it, which is shaded into a more metallic grey with some darker colouring, and then back into that copper type effect in the center there. Really, really nice. And it's replicated on the flip side of the shield as well. There's a peg here because this pegs into the arm. We'll take a look at that when we bring the figure out. So yeah, I'm liking that a lot. That shield is very nice indeed. So yeah, that's your shield. What else? Let's take a look at the gauntlet blades. Now, where would a Predator be without his gauntlet blades? These are slightly longer than the blades that you see on something like the classic Predator or the City Hunter Predator. At least I think they are. But all one piece of sculpted plastic, very nicely done. Silver paint application to give it that metallic look with some detailing picked out with some black paint there. Flexible plastic, which is great to see. So hopefully nobody will get hurt and they won't break, although they could bend quite easily. So maybe exercise caution there. And I am going to assume that these simply slot into the gauntlet as they do with most Predator figures. So yeah, that's the blades. You also get a couple of arrows. Now, there's no bow with these arrows. These are actually for the diorama base. All one piece of sculpted plastic. That feather effect at the end is really nicely done. If the camera will pick this up, if the light is catching that. Yeah, just very simple, but they're very nicely done. So you get a couple of those headless arrows. You get a couple of spears for the spear gun, all plastic again. Paint applications on here, really nice. You've got this sort of gradiated from black going to the point there where it's more silver, and just very, very nicely done. Nicely sculpted, and some excellent paint applications there from Hot Toys. So you get 2 of those. You get the spear itself. Now the spear comes in lots of different parts, so we'll take a look at all of them in one go. You get the, well, I mean, I'm saying you get a sort of semi-extended version, which is more like a club. And those who've seen the film will know that this it comes in different formats. There's a fully extended version, there's the smaller version which he has on his back, and then it all sort of goes down to this almost baton effect here, and he splits it into 2 and uses the cudgel and the blade separately. But the main body itself, once again, all sculpted plastic, but very nice paint applications on here. And the sculpt itself gives it that rough hewn quality. It looks like, it's not like a super smooth metal, it's almost like a cast iron feel and look to it. And then you've got these copper paint applications on the end there, which are screen accurate, and just the detailing really, really nice, and that pattern in the end there. So that's part 1 of the spear stroke cudgel. Part 2 is the blade end, and once again, it's that rough hewn iron look. Loving the detailing on here, and that paint application as well really makes that sort of rough metal look pop. So yeah, that's the blade end. Quite sharp this one, so watch out, we don't want any accidents out there. But yeah, screen accuracy is definitely there. The baton section, when it's all closed up, is pretty similar to the ends of the spear section, but nicely done. That copper paint application again, if the light's catching this, and just some nice detailing going on. And finally, you've got the separate spear end, the blade end, if you will, which is where that comes in, obviously. Now this has got a bit of weight to it, because I believe there's a magnet in this, which will attach it to the back of the figure. But once again, you've got the tip of the blade there, which is the same as the tip of the full blade. Same level of paint application on there, and that lovely sort of rough wrought iron hue to it. Now, if memory serves me correctly, and if I'm going to get this right, I hope I get this right first time. I probably won't, because I haven't checked the instructions yet. But what you can do, I believe, is, yes, these sections come apart, so you can have it fully extended by popping this section into here. It's a tight fit, but it will go on, and then you can add the blade section on this end by removing this bit, and you can have it fully extended, semi-extended, or in 2 parts, or if you want to, just stow it on his back. So yeah, that's the spear. Pop that to one side. What else? Well, talking of spears, spear gun. We looked at the spears themselves, so let's take a look at the spear gun. All one piece of sculpted plastic. You'll be sick of me saying that, but yeah, nicely done here from Hot Toys. Liking this a lot. The paint applications on here are very, very good indeed, with that gunmetal grey. You've got that sort of brass effect going on in the detailing there. There's been some black black washing rather over the top to pick out the details. That sort of copper stroke bronze effect is continued in the handle there. You've got the Predator writing, I believe it's writing, going on the barrel and on the handle as well, and it's just really, really nicely done. And I believe you can actually, yes, there's a little hole in the end there, and you can slot one of the spears in if you're wanting to have it fully loaded. So yeah, that is the spear gun. Liking that a lot as well. What else do we get weapons wise? You get, I believe this is actually the whip, the fully extended whip. Now, we see this in the film in 2 states. One where it's, how can I put this politely? Flaccid? Yeah, flaccid, we'll call it flaccid. Or one where it is stiff. And this is the stiff version. And I think they did a cracking job. Sculpted plastic again. Once again, it's got that rough raw iron hue to it, and that black sort of washing over the top to pick out the details, and just nicely done. So yeah, that's the whip. You also get some swap out wrist pegs. Now these are more the barbell style of wrist pegs, as opposed to the normal ones we see, and they're slightly chunky, which is good to see. So hopefully they will be a lot sturdier. On a figure this size, you probably need something like this, but great inclusion as always. Let's take a look at the swap out mandible. Now, two mandibles with this, sets of mandibles with this particular figure. One closed, one open. This is the open one. We'll take a look at the closed one when we bring the figure out. And I've got to say, I am pretty impressed with what I'm looking at here. The paint applications are very, very nice. That sculpt to replicate the flesh and the skin of the Predator is really nicely done. The creases are exceptionally well done in there. Those black spots have been picked out. The inside is suitably wet, but not too wet. It's not been overly done with the gloss to replicate the wet. It's sort of damp. It looks slightly damp, but yeah, it looks suitably gruesome with all the fleshy parts of the inner mouth there. The lower jaw is really nicely painted. Those teeth are very, very well done with some black paint applications over the top of the sort of the ivory color to pick out the details. And overall, yes, very, very nicely done. And obviously you've got these two pegs on the top here for when you wanted to swap out the mandible. So we'll see how that works when we bring the figure out. So swap out mandible. And penultimately, it's the bio helmet itself, the all-important bio helmet. Now, I think this is very, very good. I think they've done a cracking job here, Hot Toys. The screen accuracy is on point, and you would be forgiven for thinking, if you were looking at this from a distance, that this is actually some form of bone or ivory. It's just that well done. Sculpt is really, really nice. Paint applications in particular, even down to some very, and if the light's catching this, some minute speckles of red, which could possibly be blood, in the cracks of the biomask itself. You've got the laser sights there, the eponymous and now legendary 3 red dots, and then around the edges there you've got the metal portions that hold the biomask on, and they've just been done in a metallic grey paint, but it just looks really nice with the detailing picked out there. Front looks brilliant with dry brushing on there to pick out the details, and just very, very nicely done. I believe this attaches magnetically, but we'll check that when we bring the figure out. You've also got a felt pad on here, so you're not going to run the risk of damaging that head sculpt if you're taking it on and off. And it also comes with this little power cable, because these red laser sights actually light up. But once again, we'll take a look at that when we bring the big guy out. So finally, the base. Now, great to see Hot Toys have gone for a diorama base here. Now, plastic, there's no resin or anything like that here, but it's got some heft to it. Let's check out the bottom, as we always do first. No feet on here. Would have been nice to see some felt feet, but it is what it is. Pretty basic on the bottom there, just says 20th Century Studios and Hot Toys. On the top, I think they've done a cracking job here. What you've got, now this looks like a combination of things to me. It looks like a combination of the Trapper's Camp and that log that Naru and the rest of the party were hiding behind when the feral predator attacked. So I think they've taken a bit of license here and maybe just combined some elements, but the base itself, the main portion of the base, is obviously meant to be grass. You've got some browns and greens in there, lots of different shades going on, really nicely done. What looks like a piece of material, maybe that's some kind of fur, well, it's not fur obviously, but maybe some kind of pelt or something like that that's been left out to dry. What looks like at the back here, a bundle of furs that are covered with another fur, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice 2 holes in there, and that's where your, and if I can find them because they're off camera now, just bear with me 1 second, that's where your arrows go in, and it just gives the base that extra dimension and depth. On the right hand side of the base, you've got this log effect, sculpted plastic, really nice paint applications on there, and the detailing continues around the back. So yeah, the wood effect is very, very good there, and I believe you can actually pop the axe into into one of these. I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's all of them. I don't know. Yeah, you can pretty much fit that axe in wherever you want in the diorama to display it. So yeah, nice to see. You've got what looks like a fireplace, maybe being built or semi-built there with the stones around it. Nice paint application on the stones to look like lots of greys and whites and browns and so on going on in there, and just overall very, very nice indeed. In the center there, you have the screw-in slot for your dynamic flight pole. Basically, screw it straight in. We all know how this works pretty much by now. Yeah, screw it straight in there, and what you've got to go on top is a waist grabber. The normal story from Hot Toys, felt lined on both of the on the arms there and on the back support. And as always, way too tight for my taste. That should be a lot looser. I really don't like these things, but it is what it is, and that simply slots on the top of your dynamic flight pole, so you can pose to your heart's content. So there you have it, folks. That's the accessories. So without further ado, let's bring out the Feral Predator. Let's get him on this rather fancy base, onto the turntable, and get up close and personal with him. Okay folks, so here he is. It's the Feral Predator himself, onto the stand and onto the turntable. And first impressions, I've got to say, first impressions are very good indeed. The proportions look absolutely on point. The screen accuracy looks right. Those dreads look fantastic, as does that head sculpt. The body looks really good. Overall, yeah, first impressions are excellent. I have left him bereft of any accessories for this particular section, because we'll have a close-up look at him. We don't want them flying all over the place, but we will fully tool him up when we go in for a verdict on this guy. So let's do as we always do. Let's stop him from spinning and get up close with him. And the first thing you notice, obviously, is the height of this figure. It's coming in at about 37 centimeters tall, which is give or take 15 inches, which is just about the right proportions, if not actually nailed on 100%. The guy who played the Feral Predator, I believe his name is Dane DiLiegro. If I'm butchering that name, please forgive me. But he comes in at a mammoth 7.5 feet tall, feet tall. So yeah, big guy, and those proportions are echoed here. We'll also take, actually, when we go in for a verdict on this guy as well, we'll bring out the classic Predator, and we'll bring out Dutch as well, just to get some kind of size comparison going on. But yeah, let's get him off this this waist grabber and let's get up close with him. And also, not only do you notice the height of this figure, the weight of this figure, he has got some serious heft to him. He is a chunky monkey. But let's take a look at these feet. Let's start with these feet. And I've got to say, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with these feet. The scale is right, those huge feet. The paint applications look really good. Those bindings around the ankles are really nice. And what you've got here is a sort of a split cut design going on, which is great to see. So you've got a decent amount of articulation. We will check the articulation throughout this figure, but yeah, you've got the sculpted in talon on the ankle there. The feet themselves, similar paint applications to the hands, only a slightly more gloss look to the feet, but you've got those browns and that shading going on. Talons are really nice and black on the toes, and you've got those black dots as well. Bindings themselves are nicely detailed, and with some nice paint applications going on there. If I could level any complaint, I would probably say that it would have been nice to maybe see a split in the toes there, so you can maybe go for a running pose or something like that. You've got forward and backward motion in here, but obviously that's limited by this talon at the back, and you've got right and left motion as well. Moving up now, the body of this figure pretty much all over is hard plastic, and the only exception really here is this chest and abdomen section, but we'll come to that because this is where Hot Toys made some changes from their original prototype. But the legs themselves, you've got that sculpted in wrinkled flesh, which looks really effective. Once again, you've got those black dapple markings all around the legs, getting larger on the thigh area there, and scars, multiple scars, and there's scars all over this guy. Not a huge amount, but they are there, and they can be picked out, which is great to see as well, because that's, once again, that is screen accurate. Now moving up, well, we'll check the articulation in the knees as well while we're here, because let's have a go, because this is obviously, with it being a hard plastic figure, no, that's satisfying. I'm not sure whether the mic's picking that up. I'm sure it will be, actually. that is the ratchet in the knee there. Wow, that is one, that feels excellent, it really does, and it sounds as sturdy as it actually feels in hand. What you're going to get here is about 45 degrees out of leg, nearly 45 degrees, so I'm assuming that's the same for both legs. Let's move up. Now you've got this lamellar, I believe it's called, armour going on, which is actually sculpted plastic, screen accurate, and that's a sort of a, it's sort of a skirt layered armour, not dissimilar to sort of, well, it's got echoes of Asian, Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian armour. But this is a sort of a soft plastic, and the paint applications are really nice on there. If a little, I don't know if that sculpt looks a little rough to me or whether I'm just being harsh. I'll let you decide that one. I think it looks very good. Maybe the edges here are a little bit on the cartoony side. They're not perhaps quite as accurate as the rest of the paint applications. And maybe it's the sculpt actually, not the paint applications, but it doesn't, it's not a deal breaker. And you've got those that softer section underneath, which is actually attached to the armour skirt itself. That continues around the back, once again with those sections hanging down. And you have these skulls going on. There's a couple of skulls on the back here. Now I'm assuming probably this one here actually is the dog. The poor dog that gets killed while chasing a rabbit, and that's probably the rabbit there actually, although I wouldn't know a rabbit skull if, no, it's probably not a rabbit actually. No, I think that's the snake actually, come to think of it. That's the snake that he skins by the look of the fangs there. So yeah, you've got the dog skull and the snake skull there. Not 100% certain what this is. Is it possibly the net caster that he uses? It may very well be, I don't know, but that's attached to the belt with these black strings. It's great to see they're actually attached, because I think we've had Predator figures before where these things aren't attached, so yeah, good to see they've already been put on. When you get to the legs themselves, what you've got articulation wise, and these are stiff, these are very stiff. There's not an awful, oh there we go, yeah, it's actually starting to move now, and I don't want to push this too hard. As I say, literally out of the box, I'm checking underneath there to see what kind of articulation we've got. Let's see if he'll do a leg spread. Oh yes, we've got a very substantive leg spread going on there, which is great to see. And let's try the forward and the backward movement. Gripping this figure is not the easiest thing in the world, because I don't want to grab it by the dreads. Oh yeah, you've got a full, yeah, it's going to come up there. Obviously it's limited by that plastic armour skirt going on, but you'll get his leg out to about there, and you can get a bend at the knee as well, so you can have him leg up. Now I believe that there is a feature here where, yeah, there you go, where you can actually pull these legs down, and I'm going to be super careful here because, as I say, don't want to damage this figure, yeah, and that will give you even more articulation, and then they pop back up in. How can I describe this? Not if you own a Hot Toys Robocop, very similar to the arms in that particular figure, where they would pop out to give you a wider range of motion. So yeah, these things will actually pop down and then slot back up again if you're wanting to go for a more dynamic pose up to the abdomen. Let's get close in on this so you can see the detail. Now, this is one of the areas where Hot Toys actually made some changes from the prototype version that they first showed. The prototype, I believe, had a solid hard plastic abdomen and chest made out of the same material that we're seeing in the arms and the legs here, but they decided against that. I think fans cried out a little bit, and what they'd done is, I believe, there was a gap here, and they'd articulated it in a not dissimilar way to the way we see other hard plastic figure manufacturers articulate. So you've got a gap there where the chest is, and then there's a ball joint between the chest and the abdomen. They've bitten that idea off, and what they've gone with is, now I'm not sure what this material is, whether it's rubber, whether it's silicone. It feels like a rubber, and then it feels like there's a hard body underneath that, but I personally think that looks a lot better than the prototype shots. The gap here, although it does have sort of a defined area where the rib cage meets the abdomen, I thought when I saw the prototype, I thought that gap was just too ugly and too pronounced. So I'm really glad to see that they've gone with this. How this material, if it is rubber, stands the test test of time? Well, that's anybody's guess, but I'm sure we'll find out. Paint applications are really nice on here. You've got that red section running down the center of the chest. All the musculature is picked out. You've got sort of almost like scales across the top of the chest area there, which gets smaller as it comes down. There's more scarring going on. Let's take a look around the back. Harder to see around the back here, but what you do have around the back, and we'll actually bring this in now just to demonstrate, I believe there is a magnet in his lower back where this will attach. He said confidently, there you go. So if you're wanting to carry the spear like that, you can attach it there. Also as well, the spear gun will attach on the back. Let's just flip these locks out of the way so we can get to his back there. And as you can see there, actually, while we're here, we'll take a look at the paint applications on the back. Yeah, once again, that sort of that skin effect, that almost scaled skin effect, gets larger as it goes up to the top of the shoulder blades there, and there's reds down the spinal column, and those black dots have continued. But yeah, what you can do, and I believe there is a magnet in this as well, he said confidently, please don't call me a liar. There we go. Yeah, you can attach the spear gun magnetically to his back as well. So yeah, while we're here, actually, we'll also take a look at the pod. Now, non-removable this pod, so don't go try and pulling it off. That could end in tears. But nicely sculpted. It's a hard plastic, and once again, you've got that sort of almost wrought iron effect with these copper tones down the center there. Very nicely done, and yeah, looks excellent. On the top of that pod, there's this little section here which comes off. He said confidently, I think you need to get your fingernail underneath there. Yeah, and that section that we looked at with the biomask actually plugs into there, and there's an on-off button. But we'll have a look at that. And there's a USB-C input at the bottom there. Great to see Hot Toys finally moving away from button cell batteries altogether. Regulars to the channel will know my personal hatred of button cell batteries. So it's great to see that they're finally venturing into USB territory. Although I'm not 100% certain what that creates with a lead hanging out the back here and then a lead coming out of the top into the biomask for the effect is going to be worth it, but we'll get to that. And also as well, you can probably see there in that little section at the top there's a hole, there's a gap, so you can lead that wire out of the pod, and it will sort of get lost in the dreads. So yeah, let's bring him back round and take a look at the articulation in the midriff section. And it's a bit limited here. There's not an awful lot of movement going on. There is a forward and backward movement, but the sideways movement is a little bit limited, and I'm assuming that's because of the nature of what they've done here with the chest and abdomen. Probably a slight issue here is when he leans back, there's a gap. That's always going to happen, I suppose. I don't think there's any way of that not happening, but it can look ugly. But then again, I am not going to be posing him like this. Why would he looks like he's had too much to drink? But it will lean forward, and it sounds to me like there's a ratchet in that chest as well. Yeah, there is a very, very sturdy ratchet joint going on in that chest, so you can get some forward movement and some backward movement. I'm not going to push this too hard. This has just come out of the box, and I don't want to have to mourn its passing before I've even had time to enjoy it. But yeah, you can probably hear that loud click of the chest moving backwards and forwards, so that's good to see. The arms themselves, as I mentioned before, same as the legs, hard plastic. What we are looking at, I'm going to try and get these dreads out of the way, just so we can take a look at these arms. Now, I have noticed this straight out of the box. Now, the articulation in these arms here, I was a little bit concerned because I had seen, and there is a rather ugly joint underneath the arm there. If you can see that. Now, I can't see how Hot Toys could have done this differently, to be honest with you. Try and get the camera to catch that. I mean, obviously you can see this is a soft sort of latex rubber almost that's covering the body, because there is a gap there and it goes in. Now, honestly, as I say, I can't see how that could have been avoided. It's sort of compensated for by the fact that when you move this arm, and if you can see this happening, I can try and demonstrate this on camera. If you pull the arm all the way out like that, and then lower it, but then as you turn it back in, it clicks back up into place, which loses some of that ugly seam. So yeah, I think it was always going to be a compromise when covering the body with this material, that you were going to get that gap underneath. Not a deal breaker for me. Around the top of the neck area there, you've got those spines or hairs growing out of the chest area. They're really nicely done. They're soft and flexible, so hopefully they will stand the test of time. Neck is really well sculpted as well. Let's get on to this head sculpt. And actually, before we look at the head sculpt, I'm bouncing around all over here. Let's just take a quick look at the shield section. Now, this gauntlet on the left arm, which I have to say, once again, very nicely done. Nice paint applications. You've got that Predator writing. There's that metallic effect. This section in the centre here lifts off very easily, actually. And what you can do is you can plug in the shield. Now, I'm not going to do, well, I'll do this on camera if it will work. Yeah, and there you go. You've got the shield attached. I love that look. I think that's a cracking look, and I think this is how I'm going to be displaying him. Weapon in the right hand, shield on the left, all ready to cause some serious suffering. Let's remove that. So that is a sturdy peg. That is not going to come off in a hurry. So yeah, but if you're not wanting to go for that look, you can simply clip this section back on, which we will do now, and that goes back on there, he said confidently. Gauntlet on the right arm, the left arm rather, and I'm going to try and demonstrate this with one hand on camera. I'm not going to do both, I will just do one. People who own Predator Hot Toys figures will know how this works. You take one of those blades and you simply put it into that little slot there, and that's your gauntlet blades. And this second gauntlet on this side as well, really nice, especially around here. I'm loving this copper look paintwork, very nice. So up to the head sculpt. Let's get this guy standing free, and let's have a chat about this head sculpt now. I think it's great. I absolutely think it's great. Where to begin? I think the sculpt, absolutely, that's on point. That's screen accurate for me as far as I can tell. The paint applications are really nice there. Where to start? The shading on the top of this head, lovely there. You've got oranges, you've got wet look reds, you've got that more sort of bone type effect going on. There's those punctures almost down the brow there. Underneath that, you've got those eyes, those high eyes at a strange angle there, with where the pupils aren't fully seen, and the yellow paint applications. I'm going to try and get this in as close as possible and help the camera focuses on this. They're great. The mandibles themselves, really nicely done. Once again, all done in this high gloss finish. There is a slight seam line here, and let's try and take this out. I'm yet to try this, so bear with me. I'm assuming this just slots out. Yeah, it does. Slots out. It's friction that's holding that in place, and I'm not sure which of these sets of mandibles I prefer. Let's put the other one in while we're here and see how that looks. Just bear with me while I now, the first time I've done this, so if oh no, that was relatively easy. Okay, so we've gone from semi-open mandibles to fully open. I think I probably prefer this look. I think it's just a bit more aggressive and a bit more scary, and I like my aggressive and scary. There is a slight seam line, if you can see this, running from the jaw across the cheekbones and to under the eyes. I think, yeah, it's could have been fitted slightly flusher, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. It's not a deal breaker for me. It doesn't throw the figure off, but my eyes are drawn to it. That seam line is quite pronounced. Yeah, as I say, it's not a deal breaker, and you actually can see it under the eyes there if the light's catching that. But yeah, overall, I think that is a marvellous head sculpt. I really do. and the all-important dreads. I am loving the way you've got these shorter sections of dreads here at the side of the head, and this is screen accurate, that are feeding in to the main body of the dreads. These are a slightly harder plastic, and they are quite sharp, so if you're picking this figure up, be careful there. The dreads themselves, now this is another part of this figure that was actually updated prior to its release. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe Hot Toys made some alterations to the head sculpt. I'm not sure what they were. I don't know whether it was the sculpt or whether it was the paint applications, not 100% certain, but I know what they did after feedback was alter these dreads. The prototype dreads were a lot thicker than this. Well, not a lot thicker, but they were thicker than this, and they just didn't look screen accurate. I am really glad that they have altered these dreads. I think they look fantastic. They are just the right length, just the right consistency and thickness, yeah, they're just on point. They are pretty much made, I think, of the same, and it feels like rubber to me, of the same rubber that they used in their previous Predator figures, and I just love the way it falls. When the Predator moved in the movie, there was a motion to these dreads, which was, I found it pleasing. I'm odd that way, but yeah, you get that in this as well. I just think it's wonderful, and it looks like they've been embedded into the head sculpt in sets of 3 here. They join just before they get into the head sculpt, if the light's catching that. So you've got sets of 3 all the way through the head. Let's just quickly check the articulation on the head here. Now, there's a decent amount of sideways motion. You're always going to be limited here, I think, because of the nature of these mandibles, and also the fact that those dreads there, you don't want them catching. But yeah, oh, it's a ratchet joint. It feels to me like that head's actually on a ratchet joint. That's fantastic. Yes, it is. Well, maybe not the head, but the neck area here is on a ratchet, which means you can actually get this head right down. You can have him leering down on a victim. That is great. That's going to be a look I sport in the display, definitely. And there is some right and left here, but I'm not going to push that too much, as I said, because I don't want to damage those dreads on the back. So there you have it, folks. That is the Feral Predator from Prey. I think what we should do is fully tool this guy up, get him back onto the stand, bring out some size comparisons, and go in for a final verdict. Okay, folks, so before we go in for the showcase, it's time for a final verdict on the Feral Predator. And I've brought out the Classic Predator, and I brought out Dutch for a size comparison. As you can see, the Feral Predator comes in a lot bigger than the Classic Predator. I'm not sure whether these proportions are correct. I'm not 100% certain they are. Now, I'm not sure how tall the actor was who played the original Predator, so I'll have to check that out and find out. But looks like there's a slight discrepancy in scale. The Feral may be a little bit too big if you're wanting to display them with these two guys, but it gives you some idea of the scale that you'd be working with. Also, I wanted to display the light up feature on the biomask. As you can see, it's all lit up. Not without issues, this light up feature. In actual fact, let's get these two guys out of the way and go in for final thoughts and cover the pluses and the minuses with the Feral Predator. Let's move the original Predator out the way, and he still weighs a ton himself. Let's get him down there. Now, yeah, I mentioned the light up feature. Let's bring this guy in now. To use the light up feature, I've dimmed the lights a little bit as well, so you can see how bright they are. As I mentioned, you need to this wire here, which doesn't really blend in particularly well with the dreads. We'll turn him sideways so you can see that, and then it actually plugs in to the pod at the back in that flap that we showed earlier. Now, the wire that goes in there is super delicate. Now, if you're taking that in and out on a regular basis, I can see that snapping in next to no time. Then you have to plug in a USB-C. Let's turn him around so you can see that, into the bottom of the pod there. I'm using a white one here, but you're probably better off using a black one if you're going to use this feature, so it's a little better disguised. Yeah. I think for all the fuss and for all the mucking around, to have those, just get those three LEDs lit up, it's not something I'm going to be using in the display, to be honest with you. And therein lies another issue with this figure. If you are using that light up feature and you've got the dynamic flight pole screwed in there, as you can see, the USB-C lead actually gets in the way of the waist grabber, if you can see that there. So you can't use the waist grabber when you've got the LED feature on. It's not a deal breaker for me because, as regulars to the channel will know, I don't use light up features that often in my figures. So it wasn't something I was going to use anyway, but yeah, it does represent a bit of an issue, as does posing him on this diorama base. As nice as this diorama base is, it needs to be a little bit bigger to accommodate those dynamic poses. This is a very simple one. We've just got him legs slightly splayed, clutching the spear with the shield and the blades in the gauntlet there, and we've got the spear gun on his back. But as you can see, even with his legs slightly splayed, he is way too big for this base in a dynamic pose. And when you've got the flight pole in there, he's a little bit too far forward as well. So yeah, you can use it as a kicking off point, shall we say, if you're going to use it in the display. Other niggles. Those gaps maybe in those arms, but as I mentioned before, I can't see why I can't see another solution, shall we say, that Hot Toys could have come up with once they'd replaced this chest and abdomen section with the rubber. What else? Some of the paint applications here and there, maybe on the on this armor at the front here, the sculpt rather, is a little bit. It's a little bit soft, shall we say, but overall I think it does the job. So let's go in for a final verdict on this guy. The good points: scale and proportions absolutely nailed on, even if they don't quite measure up to the older figures. The sculpt, the paint applications on the whole, absolutely nailed on. The accessories, very, very good indeed. Overall, I think it's a fantastic likeness. I can't make up my mind whether I like I prefer the mandibles open, full chat, or half chat, or biomask on, biomask not on. But suffice it to say, I won't be using that light up feature in the display. I think the articulation is phenomenal. I think for a piece this size, I think it's very good, and I think it was a great decision. Maybe another niggle as well is when you're leaning back ever so slightly, you do get that gap there, but once again, I think the only way I can see of avoiding that would have been raising this this sort of loincloth section higher up, and then it would throw off the screen accuracy and all the proportions as well. So it was always going to be a compromise. I think it's an amazing figure, but it's not without some small niggles. I so wanted to give this a 10, I really did. I've been waiting for this for so long. I can't even put this guy on the turntable to show you and spin him round 360, simply because he won't fit on in this pose. And I can't use the dynamic flight pole, as I mentioned, so if I put him on the turntable, he's just going to topple over. But with that USB-C cable in there, I think it's a fantastic figure. I think it's a wonderful representation of the predator from Prey, of the feral predator. I think paint applications a little soft in some places, and sculpt a little soft in some places as well. But as I mentioned, accessories nailed on. Diorama base needed to be bigger, although it's a nice inclusion. That light up feature really is pretty pointless, I think. Although it is wonderful to see Hot Toys moving away from button cell batteries. However, it needs to be thought through a little bit more when you're putting a USB-C on the back of a figure like this that's using a waist grabber. Those dreads, those locks, superb. So glad that Hot Toys changed them, thinned them out a little bit, made them more screen accurate. I think they look wonderful. I think the head sculpt is great. Paint applications on the head sculpt are phenomenal. So you can display it with or without this biomask, and the biomask really comes off very, very easily. I think there is possibly a magnet in there, or it might. If it is, it's a very light magnet. It might just be friction holding that on. I don't know, but it feels like there's a really light magnet going on, maybe a super thin one. But yeah, overall, I think it's a fantastic piece. but not without its niggles. If you're a fan of the movie, if you're a fan of Predator, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned, and I can't wait to get it in the display, and I can't wait to do the showcase. So a final score, whoa, now that's going to be a tough one. Like I say, I so wanted to give it a 10, but I can't. Just those minor niggles are going to take it down to a 9 for me. Yeah, unfortunately, there's just some areas there that are a little soft in the paint application and sculpt, and some of the ideas which are very good just haven't been thought through enough for me. But overall, yeah, I'm going to give this a 9. I think a solid 9. That feels comfortable. So there you have it, folks. That is the Feral Predator from Hot Toys. What are your thoughts on this piece? What are your take on? What's your take on the movie? What's your take on Hot Toys' take on the Feral Predator? What's your take on anything at all? Please drop a comment in the comment section below. I will be fascinated to hear your take on this. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the near future, we have a raft of new figure reviews. We've got stuff from Hot Toys, from InArt, from Susu Toys, Present Toys, Exo6, Caustic Plastic. The list goes on. Oh, Iconic Studios as well. So if you, as I mentioned at the top there, if you haven't already, please mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the good stuff. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching from myself, from the Feral Predator. Take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.